Hey, hello drumstickers! Hi, how's everybody? Welcome again. You know you are in Drumsticks Sunday. I'm Alberto Iglesias and here we are, with a different pair of drumsticks every week. Okay, now I'm kind of paying a debt I have from a few weeks ago when I tested the original signature model from Weckl. So I mentioned in that video, I think I mentioned that in that video that Weckl has another model which is in fact this week's model, which is the VicFirth Weckl Signature Evolution. It's this one. Okay, cool. First of all, I'm not gonna repeat the introduction or the presentation of Weckl. First, because most of you know Weckl. But anyway, if you don't know who Weckl is, you can go to the other video, to the first video, and check it out. You can see a picture and just a small sum up or recap of who Weckl is. Okay. Okay. First, let's start with the picture so I can talk about the drums. Okay. This is the VicFirth Weckl Evolution. Cool. Well, let's start with the measures. As always, we have 0.563 of grip, okay, diameter. We have 16 inches length. We have a medium taper in this case, kind of a teardrop tip. A few things to say about this. What else? Okay, this is hickory, and we have painted finish. Okay, it's kind of orange or brown, kind of something like that. Okay, so maybe first the translation of that measures and all that. We have 0.563, which is kind of a super strange. Well, in my opinion, it's strange because the regular 5A is 0.565, and here we have 563, which is so little difference. I honestly started thinking that it was maybe it was a mistake of the page, but anyway, I don't know. This is what it says. Okay, you can find out that in the webpage. So that's the diameter of the drumstick, 16 inches. We have a medium taper, of course, more or less a regular medium taper, I would say. Okay, we have teardrop in this case, but it's not not exactly the regular teardrop from VicFirth or from most of the 5A drumsticks. I think it's a little bit shorter. In my opinion, it's kind of in the middle between a barrel tip and a teardrop tip. It's the best definition I can give you. And okay, we have orange paint or brown, something between orange and brown. So it modifies a little bit the grip and all that, like in other models. Okay. Okay, let's start. I think the most interesting thing about this week is just compare the two models, so the difference between the two models. Okay. So if we take this, which is the original signature model from Weckl, we have three main differences in this case. We have, first of all, the length is different. We have in the original model it was 16.25. If you see, we can compare both models, and it's longer in this case, as you can see. Okay, what else? Okay, the diameter is different. In this case, it is 0.560, and here we have 0.563. So this is obviously both are thinner than a regular 5A, but in this case it's more or less the same. Honestly, in this case you can notice that in your hand, which is kind of you feel like it's thinner than a 5A, especially if you usually play 5A. In this case, honestly, I was thinking it was a 5A because I never thought that I'm gonna make this model, but just a little bit. But of course, it's Weckl, so he knows pretty well what he's doing. That's the second difference, and the third difference, of course, is the tip. In this case, we have a standard barrel tip, and but in this case, we have something like, I would say, in the middle of that. Okay, the barrel tip and tiltrow tip. So, talking about the evolution of these two models, in my case, of course, personal opinion, and it's the way it adapts to the way I play, or how I play, or my preferences and on my body, and blah blah blah. It's all the changes are really great for me. First of all, the length. You know, I'm not a huge fan of longer drumsticks, especially if we talk about the same or this 5/8 or around 5/8 grip. It doesn't feel good for me, of course, because of the way I play. Sometimes when we talk about bigger drumsticks, or 2Bs or something like that, rock, metal, all that kind of stuff, it makes more sense to me that it's longer, and I can feel like it helps with with the punch, with the power and all that stuff. But when I talk about this, my thing, my 5A or all that, it doesn't feel as comfortable as the 16. So first thing, that it's here we have the 16. Okay. Second thing, the grip. First of all, none of them are super huge different from the regular 5A. Of course, as I was saying, in this case you can feel that, but if you usually play with 5A, you are not going to have a lot of problems with this. I think you can adapt pretty fast to this grip. In this case, the feeling is, for me, honestly, for me, it's completely the same. Because of course I'm not an expert. I'm just trying, and I at least for now, I will be incapable to different this to find the difference of grip. But anyway, if you play 5A, sorry, this is gonna be better because it's super close to 5A. Okay, so second thing, that it works better for me, and the third thing is the tip. Here we have one thing that happens with barrel tips is usually when you look at the tip, it feels this is kind of round tip. It's gonna have a lot of definition and all that stuff. But once you start playing, you realize, especially in the right, that it opens more than you was expecting. Why? Okay, because it's not round. You have all that part. It's kind of flat. In fact, it's a little bit with a kind of an oval shape, but it's kind of flat, so you have kind of more surface touching the cymbal and the drum heads and all that stuff. So you get a lot of overtones too. Of course, you have that kind of extreme change of angle and all that, but with this tip you get kind of a focus sound, but at the same time you have some overtones depending on the way or the angle you are using, right? For me, in this case, you can maintain some of that overtones, not too much, not as much as in this case, but in this case you have that overtones too, but the transition from this position or to other angles are more soft, okay? For me, the sound that I'm getting from this one it's better. It's more. I prefer the balance I get with this case between overtones and definition. Both are as I was saying, you can get that focus and that definition, but of course it's not. Anyway, it's not gonna open as much as an oval tip, for example, or bigger tips and all that. But in this case, I think like it feels better. The variation you get when you move you have to think that it's kind of difficult to attack always with the same angle. Sometimes you're playing and you modify the way you hit and all that stuff. So for me, this is softer in this case, in this aspect. Okay. So what I can say. At this point, you know that I really prefer this one. So for me it makes total sense. The evolution it's really, really great, okay? Both are great drumsticks, of course, but because of the way I play, because of how I use drumsticks nowadays at least, this works really, really great. Trying to sum up or to recap, I would say that it's kind of the same thing that happened to me with the new Benny Greb VicFirth model, which is if I was using a regular 5B from VicFirth, it's not my thing. It wasn't working really great, but the Benny Greb model is kind of the same soul of a 5B, but with an improved tip. It's smaller, but you can get, I think, a better balance between the definition and all that stuff. So it feels better, at least for me, when you play. This is for me exactly the same case like with the 5A. If I play a regular 5A from VicFirth, I can use it, of course. It's not my favorite one, but this is kind of the same idea, but with a better tip for me. Or I'm talking, of course, about just playing whatever you're playing. Not talking about styles or songs. Of course, for a different player's kind of song, you can use a different drumstick that gives you better sound for that song or for that style or whatever. But talking about in general, I prefer this one than a regular 5A, for example. The thinner thing is not a problem for me in this case, honestly. I'm not able to differentiate that, to find or to notice that difference, okay? So, is all I can say. I think it's great if you have, of course, the opportunity to change all that. I think it makes sense, or the evolution, probably because of the styles he was playing, or even the kit, or the kind of music he was playing. Of course, for kind of jazzy styles, this works for me way better than the other one. It's better balance. I prefer this one, honestly. So, if you have a chance, of course, to try this one or to compare, let me know. What do you think? I'm pretty sure many of you are going to prefer the other one. This is the best part of this. Okay, for the next week, I have a kind of it's a new company, new in Spain. I mean, it's not a Spanish company, but I knew this company from the people from downtown. But anyway, it's Agner, but I'm not selecting this because of the company. It's just because of some characteristic of this model, this specific model, which I'm not gonna say that today. Okay, you have to wait for the next video if you want to find out that. So Agner is going to be this week. Nothing else. You have 7 days in front of you, as I always say. You can practice, you can try things, you can write me with whatever question you have. I know I'm delayed again with the answers, but I promise I'm gonna try this week to update my timeline this week. So please don't hesitate to ask whatever you want. Okay. That's all I have to say. See you in 7 days. Goodbye.